right, so today we're going to be talking about place value. And place value is really important when it comes to understanding numbers and really our overall number sense. Place value is also going to help with decimals. When we work at decimals in 5th grade, we work a ton with decimals and also with fractions because decimals and fractions are kind of alike. And so understanding place value is the first step in this process. So let's jump in here. And say we have a number that is 256 and 43 hundredths. Okay, so 256 and 43 hundredths. And we wanted to break that down and figure out what the place value is of that number. And so in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this, and then we're going to break it down. So what I did is I created just a basic place value chart for myself, and you can pause that and kind of look it over and see if you can figure out what goes beyond it. But I just did it up until 10,000s, and I did it to thousandths. So obviously we can go further on both sides, and we've talked about in class what a pattern might look like when we're using this. And so notice the tens. And then what comes after the tens is the hundreds, right, when we're looking on both sides, and then the thousands. So math has a ton of patterns in it, and we want to try and recognize those patterns because, for one thing, it makes us better at math, and two, it's kind of fun to look at patterns and kind of see where things are going. So here I have my place value chart, and I want to break this down and put these numbers in there. And so when I'm looking at this, I need to label and trying to determine which number goes where. So in this case, I simply broke it down already, and I put it in its place. So we can move this down just a little bit, and we can see that there are 2 hundreds, 5 tens, 6 ones, 4 tenths, and 3 hundredths. So that's kind of the breakdown of this particular number. Now, when we are multiplying these same types of numbers, it gets a little different, and there's a pattern there too, and to kind of see how the decimal moves. Okay, so for instance, maybe I want to move this decimal either to the left or to the right of these numbers, and what's really happening there. So that's kind of the next step in this process that we need to determine. So I'm going to get rid of these, and I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm just going to say, what if we wanted to multiply this by 10? Okay, and what's going to happen? So if we bring back our place value chart and we say, well, it's going to be multiplied by 10, what's going to happen is that these numbers are going to shift over 10, because if we think about this, this 2 is going to go here, this 5 is going to go here, this 6 is going to go here, this 4 is going to go here, and this 3 is going to go here. Or in this case, I can just shift it over by grabbing this and moving it right over here. And this is when we multiply by 10. So our answer, and what our answer would look like, would be now 2,564 and 3 tenths, right? We have 3 tenths, we have no more hundredths. Okay, so what happened was these shifted over, right? I'm just going to shift them right back so you can see it. But these shifted over, right? It started there, and then we moved them over here because we multiplied by 10. Okay, so that's really important to be able to visualize and see that happening when we're multiplying by 10. It's a pattern that happens. It shifts our numbers over, or in one case, we can also look as it shifted the decimal over to the right when we multiplied. But what about when we're dividing? That's really important too. We need to know when dividing numbers what we're going to get. So in this case, if we divide by 10, what do you think might happen? Now, we talked a little bit about this in class, but what's going to happen is instead of the numbers shifting to the left, the numbers are going to shift to the right. And so this number, this 2 is going to go here, and so on and so forth. So it will look something like this, right? So we shifted them over, and now we can rewrite our answer, and we have 5.643, and then we can read this number as 25 and 643 thousandths. So that's kind of what we do, and notice where the decimal is here. All right, let's circle it with a color so you can kind of see it. So notice the decimal here, and notice where it's at now. Notice that it went this way, right? So the numbers shifted the opposite way, and the decimal shifted that way. So that's kind of a brief understanding of what we're dealing with place value. Obviously, we'll dive more into this, but hopefully that kind of helps you with where we're going this week.